Hello, y'all. I, this morning I was, whenever I do yoga, I always put on like yoga that are music that you would not associate with yoga. And one of the songs that is on my hype list is Stronger by Kanye West. And I swear that song, like, it really, is it called Stronger? I don't know. It's like, move it faster, stronger. You know that song? And I swear that song always gets me kind of in the mood. So I thought I had saw a comment yesterday from okay, I might slaughter this. Nada underscore VC8NP or Nada, one or the other, I suppose. I guess it could be Nada. I guess it could be. It is one of those. Suggested sort of like an encouragement type read, and I was in yoga and I was doing that, moving to that specific song, and I was kind of like meditating on what kind of message could I do today, or what kind of reading could I do today. And it was, so the hit that I got when kind of talking to God and my guides and my ancestors and all that was to do a message you need to hear right now. And so in some ways this could be, I'm going to try to, like, whatever the message is, I'm going to try to cushion it in and be sort of move through compassion and to communicate how to handle this situation and give you some kind of advice and a little bit of cheerleading and support. So thank you to Nada for your suggestion. I really appreciate it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the readings. I have group 1. Actually, we're doing deck 1, deck 2, or deck 3. These have been up while I've been talking, so I assume you've already kind of tapped into your deck. So these guys, these bad boys, are going to go bye-bye. We'll put this one on deck, and then we will tap into group 1, the message that you need to hear today. Hi, group 1. Thank you so much for being here with me today and taking time out of your day to listen to a reading from me. I appreciate you being here. I understand that time is the most valuable resource that we can provide one another, and so thank you for giving me your time today, because this is a moment that we will never get back. So in my opinion, that is the highest currency in which you can provide me, is your time and attention. I don't know if that has anything to do with your reading, but we are about to find out. I'm going to just do a straight tarot, and then we'll do oracle at the end to communicate in some advice for your life, or whatever it is that you are here to hear in this moment. All right, group 1, let's go ahead and get into it. What is the message? Oh boy. They were like, you should have. What is the message that group 1 needs to hear? Now, if you're new here, I am kind of a deep, so here's the thing. I always call myself, when we talk about spirit animals, I always say, like, because I'm kind of weird, that my spirit animal is technically a spirit vegetable, and it's an onion because I have all the layers. If you're new here, I'm very deep. So I like to dive deep. I have a vast amount of energy and life experiences to pull from. So we dive in sort of beneath the surface and sort of cut out ego. All right. What is the message for group 1, please? I feel like there's a reason I told you that. I'm not sure why. What is the message for group 1. I do have one hint that you are intended to kind of get out of a phase, a period of overthinking. Whatever you're doing, you're manifesting in something to celebrate. All right, why the sun here? Let's go ahead and just go. Can you clarify the sun for me? What is the message for group 1, please? Whatever work you are putting in this moment is really going to pay off. You have the King of Coins here, the World, Page of Coins, Judgment, and on the bottom of the deck, y'all, you have the Emperor. Hello, Daddy. I just want to bring out that you also have the Two of Swords and the Ace of Swords, and I'm not going to bring out the Three of Swords because I think it is, but I do want to mention that the Three of Swords and Strength is on the bottom of the deck. So I think this is after coming out of a time of heartbreak in which you were required to utilize resilience. So kudos to you, group 1. It looks like what you've been focused on or what you've been putting work into, it doesn't necessarily have to be financially, but it is, oftentimes we associate pentacles with financial stability, okay? But in this instance, it could be any number of things that you are working on. There is quite a bit of, I think there is a pretty decent balance between sort of operating in the physical world and operating in the world of stability. I would say that in this moment or with this particular message, this isn't necessarily about emotion necessarily. If you see the Three of the Cups there, in my opinion, in this read, the Three of Cups is a cause for celebration after a manifestation. So something that you have been working on and manifesting and attempting to bring into your life is going to come into fruition. And it is as a result of this sort of work that you've been putting into this space. And it's going to change something. It's sort of, and it's also sort of has this like long time coming vibe where it's kind of been, maybe a series of experiencing several karmic cycles in life, or going through these cycles in which karma seems to be at the forefront, and maybe learning lessons and going through the process of sort of understanding ourselves and understanding our purpose, or understanding our intentions and what we are intended to be doing. And so this is sort of bringing in this sort of a pat on the back or a high five, indicating that this work that you are putting in is paying off, and you're moving into this status, especially within stability, that is kind of an all-encompassing space. So you've been doing the work, you've been putting in, I got that, work. If y'all don't know, just a little hit is that I have ADHD, and my psychologist, and my psychiatrist at the time, I don't have one now, they wanted me to be tested for autism. So it's quite possible that I'm also on the spectrum. So if you hear little hits come in, my guides communicate with me through various things, but music is at the forefront of my energetic alignment. So oftentimes a song will come in. Okay, probably should have said that before. Sometimes I assume that you're kind of return offenders. Return the sender. Okay, sorry. I need to quit apologizing for that. I always say sorry afterwards. Maybe that's something that is pertinent to this pile. Maybe it's been in a space of always kind of giving into what everyone else wants us to do. And this is sort of a moment of utilizing our intuition on something. Whatever it is that you're kind of in this space of dealing with in this moment, you are moving through intuition. You're moving through trusting self as opposed to seeking outside validation and seeking outside opinions or thoughts. Or this is really I don't like the term self-motivated, but it is, well, it's self-loving, so there's that, but it is moving in a space that is choosing self and choosing what is it that I want realistically, and kind of going down and looking at it that way. Because if you see in the cards, these are all individuals. I always see when it's about a connection, or if it's about a situation that involves other people, then there are typically more players on the deck. A lot of these cards here are cards in which there are individual people. Even these ones that you don't see imagery, the Two of Wands only has one person in the traditional deck. The Three of Wands only has one person in the traditional deck, as well as the Seven of Coins, the Two of Swords. The only one among these that has other people is the Three of Cups, but the Three of Cups in traditional tarot is a celebration card. So that would be other people being proud of you or celebrating with you for this accomplishment that you've made and this experience that you've manifested into your life. And it seems like this has been, like I said, it really has been something that it's sort of this space of, it's a kind of a, I don't know how to say it this way, but it's kind of it's about damn time vibe, where I think you've been enduring for quite a while and going through these cycles in which everybody else is coming before you, and this is a moment for you to step outside of that and really see the benefit of choosing yourself, and also being in a space of choosing wisely. One thing that I think is really important to understand is that we are a culmination of the 5 people that we spend the most time with, and who is in our inner circle impacts who we are as a person. And being able to really step in and look at that and dissect that and going, who among these people would I go to for advice? And if it's nobody, you're in the wrong space. There's another quote that's like, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And so I think this is a moment in which either you have already embodied this, and it does feel like you have put in some work, and you're putting in, like, the wheels are in motion for whatever this is, and it is paying off. And this moment of really cutting out all the bull is going to catapult you in some way. It's going to bring in an astronomical amount of stability. Now, I just want to give a forewarning and sort, not forewarning, I wanted to give some acknowledgement that coins or currency doesn't always have to be financial currency. Now, this could be definitely that you are working on a project, or there's something that you're working on that it's really sort of your brainchild or your sort of baby, okay, that you're putting in a lot of work into. It could be that. But also another thing too is to understand that stability and currency exist in all forms. So time, as we talked about in the beginning of this, and now I understand why I said that, is time is the most valuable thing that we can provide somebody. So who are we giving our time to, and do they appreciate it? Is this reciprocated? Does it feel as though my time is as valued as I value their time? Things like that. Emotional currency, having communication with people that is honest and uplifting and supportive. Are we experiencing that in our inner circles? If not, cut that out, distance yourself. It doesn't mean that you have to cut people out completely. I always love to utilize the phrase, I can love you from a distance, but I don't want to be interacting with you on a consistent basis. Now, I don't obviously communicate that to people because I don't think that's very kind to be like, yes, well, your energy is no good for me. You know what I mean? So I just kind of distance myself without really sort of informing them that the reason in which I'm taking a step back is because their energy is out of alignment with mine, or because they're often negative, or they're maybe gossipy, or always kind of criticizing things, right? And I'm just not in that space. I don't understand that. I don't buy that. I don't believe that it should come with any territory, even this territory here on YouTube. I disagree. I think there are plenty of ways to provide our opinions without being disrespectful. So, okay. So that is sort of what's going on, the message that you need to hear. I'm going to provide you, though, advice in this situation, and then we'll get into your oracle cards. Hopefully I'm not speaking too quickly. Sometimes it depends on how I'm channeling. I have like different sets of, I don't even know how to explain this, of channeling that comes in. Some is super serious. It's like we're here to sit down and have a conversation, and we're like, this is going to be a very serious, deep conversation. And others that it's a lot more uplifting and a lot more fun. And it kind of just depends on, I guess, who's coming in and what the type of energy is coming in. So sometimes it's really fun and playful and witty and sassy, and then other times it's very like, we gonna get down to brass tacks. Okay, so I would say that's sort of the fun and witty side. Okay, what is, I need to scoot forward, I think. What is the advice here for group 1, please? What do they need to know in terms of advice in this moment, please? I kind of love that the Hierophant is the Godfather. And the moon is the Labyrinth. Is David Bowie on the board? We like that. And Donnie Dark. Look at all these major arcana. Y'all, look at this. 5 major arcana. Y'all, what have you been up to? We've been doing some real work. It's kind of, so the advice, honestly, it seems like the advice here is that it's time. It feels like you have gone, either it's time to like do the work, or it's time to not express, what is the right term here, please? It's time to acknowledge the work, or understand that the work has been done, and now it's like you're ready to basically express what you've learned. I know that there are other words, but y'all, for some reason, my brain just has decided that we don't want to pull from those words today. I don't know why. Sometimes. Okay. What else here for advice, please? We'll get into it. I want to pull out all the cards first, because I get talking and then I miss cards. It is sort of, oh boy, oh my goodness, holy, wow, okay. Hold on. A whole mess of cards just fell out. I don't even know if I can put those all on the board. What are we doing here? Oh. These other cards were like, wanted to come out again. Okay. So the advice here is, you must have been through a time, or you're just coming out of a time, or you are intended to come out of a time of doing some possibly shadow work, maybe not even intentionally or consciously, just going and sort of reflecting on the experiences that you've had in your life, the situations that you've accepted for yourself, the people in which you surrounded yourself with, all kinds of scenarios in which you've been in a space in which you have felt or have built into an awareness that this is something that you no longer want to be a part of, essentially. And you can, I mean, that can apply to so many things. And once you begin sort of unraveling all the mess of our trauma or things like that, and you begin really kind of dissecting that, then it becomes sort of a process in which you kind of put that into space in all things, where it becomes, I don't want to experience that. I don't want to deal with that. I'm going to choose this. It's a really all-encompassing moment, right? Where we're choosing good connections, we're choosing very specific environments that are uplifting and encouraging, and really stepping outside of these spaces that are very invalidating. And it's sort of getting outside of this. Also, it's stepping outside of the ways in which we get into our own way. So then there comes a time in which it's sort of this pivotal moment of beginning to choose good in all spaces. This is, I mean, everything that what we give out, what we put into our body. Now, it doesn't mean that we're perfect and we're gonna always step into this space. Obviously, we are human, and so we are going to. Sorry, that was bothering me. We are human, and so obviously, we may misstep, but part of the misstep then when you've, started doing the work is being able to hold yourself accountable. And so I think that you are kind of in that space. Also, this is a message about if you are seeking union. A lot of this message honestly doesn't seem to have a whole lot to do with connections and relationships, honestly, group one. But there is sort of one hit here that one thing that could be coming into your life, or that you have, or at least that you are being provided advice on, is that if you have felt like maybe you're not ready, or that you have maybe been in this space of contemplating connections, it is saying that you are moving into the state of readiness for a healthy connection and a healthy situation by doing this work. And this is going to be a new beginning for you. There's some new beginning in which you have really, it's very important that it's this acknowledgement that this is something you did for yourself, and you put in the work for, and you put in the energy for, and this is the payoff. This is the reward coming in from the universe or God, or just the idea of energetic alignment, being able to, that what you have given out in all the spaces, there's a saying that God heard, God saw things that you didn't see. And so sometimes those situations where it seems like something was ripped out of your life, or there was a big upheaval or a big tower moment or a dark night of the soul, was a result of these things that were occurring around you that you might not have been necessarily aware of, but that were impacting your life. And so those things were kind of removed in order to get you into your energy and to be able to get you into a receptive space of receiving that which you give out. This is very much, it is very much like a gavel on life. I can see a judge sort of slamming the gavel down and offering in judgment. This is all karma based as well. So you may be somebody who, it's quite possible that you have an awareness of how karma works and an understanding of how karma works, and have built this awareness of knowing that what you give out you will receive, and it'll come back to you in a multitude of ways. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to present the same way that you give it out, but it is going to come back into your life. In knowing that when you become conscious of that, you are always conscious then of your moves and motives. And it's very important, because you won't be out there spewing negativity, because you'll know with absolute certainty that if you do that, you will receive that in return. And that's so important to know, because I swear, when I started to really connect into the patterns of life, and recognize that energy was so real, I really began to question everything that I do. Even if I say certain things, I'll say, I'm just gonna say it for the sake of this read, but I'll be like, God damn it, and then I'll go, I'm so sorry, God. Like, immediately following that, it's like, I will say that, and then I'll be like, please forgive me, kind of thing. And it's just kind of, when you build into that consciousness, it becomes a part of your life, and then you don't move or operate. Now, one thing is that when you are sort of a karma deliverer, in a sense, and a mirror, you can provide a reflection back onto people, with sort of tough love, but compassion, and going, I don't have to give into, I don't have to match your vibe, but I can express to you the reason in which you're behaving that way, and make it a teachable moment. There's also something here that whatever it is that you are doing, there's two sort of dualities within this. Is that you are the star of the show, but more so it's like you are the creator of the world around you. That everything around you is essentially a perception in which you have formulated, and the only way that it can impact you is if you let it. You are in control, and the only person realistically that you have control over is yourself. This sort of jumping into the unknown, this sort of taking a leap of faith within whatever it is that you are sort of, maybe you're in a space of teetering on doing this and not knowing if this is the right path for you. Ultimately, what the cards are saying is that by taking this leap of faith and by jumping into this new beginning, you are going to receive, you're sort of going to be in this space in which you can give more of yourself to others by making the choice to go down this avenue. And when you are able to give more of yourself to others, you are able to receive more in return. And this is going to bring in some sort of abundance for you. This is also recognizing that this is sort of, it's a rebirth and it is an ending, but the new beginning is now we're into a different cycle of life. You have stepped outside of an old cycle, and now you are stepping into a new space. So you're back into the cycles. Okay, there is a period, in my opinion, I don't know if this is necessarily accurate, but this is how I feel about it, is that there is a period of limbo between transitioning. There is very much cocooning phases, and so there are phases when you build into an awareness of self, and you have sort of an ego death, and you begin looking at yourself more authentically and looking at your own behaviors and the things that you do that you project out and then see reciprocated back into your life. When you kind of find yourself in that space, and then it can be difficult because it's like there's an undoing of who we used to be, and then there's this period of sort of being in, not, it's kind of like purgatory even, where there's a space of limbo and stagnation, where it's sort of the healing and the mending and the cocooning process. And then there is the rebirth, okay? And the rebirth is then essentially ascending into this sort of butterfly. And this can happen through many cycles within our life. I talked the other day about the birthing tunnel, about how it is sort of like a rebirth, and a part of that birthing tunnel is that cocooning phase, where we go through several cycles of birth, ironically, like the first time coming out of our own mother's womb, and then going through these sort of birthing tunnels of life. And those they come in cycles. One cycle that we experience is the 7-year cycle. There's so many things that are, I would really encourage you to look into sevens. There's so many things about sevens that are really fascinating. And just in saying that, there's 7 on this the star card, which is very interesting. I It's noticed that there were 7 stars there. But one thing that happens is that there are cycles of 7s that occur within. So just the weekday cycle being 7 days, I don't think is without purpose. But over 7 years, 7 months, 7 days, there are so many cycles that occur around us that occur in cycles of 7. And so I don't know why I'm telling you about this, but it seems imperative that you know about it. And so now we all know. So you can look back then and go, okay, where am I at? If I am at a year in which this is divisible by 7, then I might be on the precipice of sort of this new space or this new beginning within life. So that is the advice for you. I feel like that was a little bit woo-woo, a little bit deep, but hopefully it resonated with you. All right, I'm going to bring you in some oracles. I'm going to do oracle messages, and then I think we'll actually do the wisdom oracle today. But so this is my favorite deck. I love this deck. I thought I would really like it, but it's like my home girl. I don't know. I really, really love this deck. It's like my favorite deck. I said that twice. Okay, sorry, group 1. All right. What does group 1 need to know in this moment? What is a message for Oofda? Oofda, you brought out the Minnesotan in me, eh? I used to live in Minnesota. I'm not from there, but someone said that I sound like I was from New York. And I was like, what? I sound like I'm from New York? That's pretty cool. I'm not. I'm from the Midwest. But I like that I sound like I'm from New York. I don't know why, but it sounds cool. Okay, so back to you. The message that we have out is the storyteller. I have the right to speak because I listen when others speak. We have the benefactor. I enjoy life as I take steps to realize my new tomorrow. Yeah, buddy. The creator. I love playing the wonder-filled game of life creatively. I am relentless. The judge. I am relentless in my pursuit of honesty and justice. I just had someone coming into this reading that used to say, yeah, buddy, all the time, that has since passed on. And that's why I had to pause and laugh a little bit. Hello. Okay, let's do, what are your, okay. Yeah, there is sort of this moment, group 2, group 1. Why did I say group 2? I don't know. Maybe that was relevant. There might be a message for you there. I haven't even gone there yet, so I don't even know. All right. What is... when this song came out, or when this No Place Like Home came out, I heard Garth Brooks, laid it all on my roots. I showed up in boots, ruin your black tie affair. I don't know. Last one to know, last one to show. I was the last one you thought you did. I love that freaking song. Oh my goodness. I wish he was on Apple Music and stuff like that. It's like, come on, Garth, get with the program, man. We love your music. We want to hear it. Stubborn old man. Okay, anyway. We have Not For You, Go the Distance, No Place Like Home, and Buy the Book. Okay, so one of the things about the Not For You thing, group 1, is that I want, it's sort of, again, like this, where I talked about earlier, where we were just kind of like dissecting our life and kind of going, okay, this can stay and this cannot stay. I need to be in this energy and not this energy. This is really bad for me, and I recognize this thing is bad for me, and having the strength to walk away from anything that is no good for you, or distancing yourself from those things that you have to kind of be involved in but aren't necessarily connected into, and really protecting your energy from those spaces and situations. Go the distance is kind of informing you that, I talked about this in a reading the other day, and I don't know if it was yours or not. Typically my group 1s tend to be sort of the same collective, my group 2s. So But it was about the unraveling. So it was like taking a chain necklace, like those thin chain necklaces. You know how they get all knotted up into a ball, right? And you have to sit there and you have to pick at them and peck at them and peck at them until it all unravels. That is exactly how a behavioral pattern works. And it does actually eventually unfold. So you just have to keep being in a conscious awareness of it. One thing that I used to do is whenever I would say something negative about myself, I would combat it with a more true statement. Now, I didn't combat it with something that was grandiose or unrealistic or that I couldn't believe, because part of energy is being able to legitimately feel it. So if I would say something like, I'm so stupid, well, I have an awareness that I'm not stupid, so that helps me. And I was like, you're not stupid. It's just a thought. It's just a moment. And also doing that as well, reminding yourself of things that are just thoughts. They're just fleeting thoughts, but thoughts can take flight if we allow them to. We also have control over them though, so we can sort of wrap onto them and pull them back in and rewrite them, right? And go, okay, no, this was just a fleeting thought that I had. It doesn't hold any purpose here. It's just my own, negative self-talk kind of getting in the way and sabotaging the moment. Once you can get a handle on negative self-talk, you can handle any situation. I swear by this indefinitely. And so being in a space of whenever you find yourself repeating or dwelling or honed in on a negative thought process, consciously interject with something that's more positive and more true. So that's a really important thing. The no place like home too is getting back into that sort of innocence of life. When I see that, I always think of childhood, and I think of many of us that if you're in my collective, there's a high probability that you have experienced some sort of that you had some sort of upheaval early in life, or that you have been through a lot in your life. I would imagine if you're coming into my collective that you have probably experienced quite a bit. And so there was this sort of phase, okay, of life in which we all experienced where we were innocent, and we had this sort of innocence to us, and we didn't dwell on things. We just let it go. It was not even a big deal. Now, I don't think we should let it go in a way in which we sort of bury it and then don't address it, because that's a great way to build a mountain that we have to then sift through. So it is important that if we have moments and we have things that we're going through, that we do sit through them, we feel them fully, and then kind of work through them. But this is also being in a space of a resilience within our own innocence, and being able to get back into enjoying life. A lot of us are on this sort of hamster wheel life, just enduring and accepting it for ourselves, and really not living and not enjoying anything. It's very much like work, sleep, repeat. And I feel for y'all that are out there working that lifestyle, because I was in it for quite a few years before I owned my own business, and then I had to be in that space when I was became a single mom and I didn't have any help, and that took the biggest toll on me. And I just love y'all for everything that you're going through, and that life is putting you through without much reward. It's really unfair what is going on in our system right now, but we ain't gonna get into topics like that. Okay, we're gonna keep it positive here. And with this by the book thing is sort of a reminder that there is no easy way through this process. There isn't going to be a quick fix. There isn't going to be, something that has really bothered me recently. I came into an awareness of is that there are people that have diabetes that really need certain medications that are being handed out for weight loss, and it's just being given out to all kinds of people, and where there are people that are literally have a disease, that requires this medication. And it's sort of being in this like quick fix world that we live in. That is, I'm not going to get into that topic. If you want to know a little bit about my backstory and my life path, I was once 240 pounds, And so I do feel like I have a leg to stand on when it comes into this particular topic, because I am not 240 pounds now. And I definitely didn't have any quick fix to get me here. I couldn't afford it. There was no way. There's no way I would have been able to afford that. So I had to do everything the hard way, and I'm still in that process of having to do everything the hard way. And I'll tell you what, that if I had done it the easy way, I would have reverted back so much quicker than having put in the work. Okay, I don't know if that's apparent to this conversation or not. I can tell you, if you want to have a conversation about that, just let me know in the comments, and we can kind of, I'll give you my email and we can talk a little bit about that. But I don't want to really get into weight loss journey on a tarot reading. So it's just sort of, but it is one of those situations in those moments that it's like, in order to create realistic change, there is a process, and there is no quick fix. But the thing is when you start small, those small things add up and they become big moments. You cannot climb a mountain without baby steps. And just remember that any step forward is a step in the right direction. Just take action and you got this. All right, group one, thank you so much for being here and for tapping into this reading. If this resonated with you, please like and subscribe to my channel. Y'all, I'm trying to get into a space in which I can monetize this to bring in extra income for my family. Any amount of support that you provide me helps far more than you know, and I appreciate you being here, and I hope you come back for more. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Clear out this energy. If you're still here, some people kind of stick around. I don't like to edit videos. I'll probably eventually get into a space, but I am a wedding photographer, so I edit a lot of things. And so being able to just do these in a way that I can just sit down and provide 3 readings is like the way I like to do it. So I have some in-between space sometimes where it's just kind of blank space. All right, I'm going to clear out group 1's energy, although group 1's energy was beautiful. Your energy is beautiful too, group 2. Group 2. All right, let me get a drink of my water before I pull out your stuff. Guys, come in and help me provide a message for group 2. Hello, group 2. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night. Just tapping into your energy here really quick, group 2. I do feel like this is a sort of a softer read, and we're going to sit down and kind of hold hands for a little bit. That is the vibe that is coming in for this group. You're definitely in a period of a very pivotal moment. So a tower moment, something has occurred, and you're holding on to so much in this moment. So the first thing I want to say to you, group 2, is that I've been in that space before. I can't say that I necessarily know what you're going through, but I know what this feeling feels like. And just remember that as much as what comes up must come down, it is the other way. So those periods and those moments in which we're really feeling it, that's our moment to be aware that there is a big shift up coming. Okay, group 2. What we're going to do today is we're going to go into the tarot reading and get you a message that you need to hear in this moment. We'll get you some advice on that message and then provide you some oracle at the end. So, let me take a big drink of water. I think I'm going to need it for this reading. Okay. What is the message for group 2? What is the message for group 2, please? What does group 2 need to hear in this moment? What does group 2 need to hear in this moment? Oof. Y'all are going through it. Here I was in the beginning going, oh, I'm going to be a cheerleader today. Well, I'm going to, how about a support system? How about that? It's the same kind of thing, huh? On the bottom of the deck, you have the Ace of Wands and the Nine of Cups, as well as the Two of Pentacles. So it seems like you've been in this space of putting an effort and consideration and care into a situation or into self, and really kind of harvesting in this space of like this period of pause. I do want to mention one thing, that I do feel like this could be in relation to a connection. I understand that connections are a catalyst for growth, so this does seem like a breakup or a disconnect within a connection, or at least the awareness that there was some instability in a union, and there's sort of moment of requiring work in some ways, like to work on self or to work on the relationship has sort of come into fruition. The one thing that I do want to say is that it's kind of, it's sort of like your only option in this specific scenario was to sort of lay down the law, I guess, or it's not even lay down the law. It's like to your only sort of option with this situation that you're dealing with was communicating the truth in some way, and being in this space in which you were really working on building this foundation within self, and also releasing this sort of pathway of getting in our own way. So I do feel like there is this process, and I talked about this actually in group 1 as well, of sort of cocooning and going through cycles, okay? The cycles in which we go through in life. There's so many interesting things about cycles, first of all, but one of them is sort of this cocooning or this birthing phase, like going through the birthing tunnel, or going through this cocooning, and sort of making this transformation into a butterfly, or going through an ascension, essentially. And there is this period of limbo. There is this period of stagnancy. It's a period of what feels essentially like purgatory, and we are sort of in this space and in the muck. This is also how a lotus flower is formed as well. A lotus flower has to grow in the mud in order to become the beautiful flower that it is. And so this is sort of a moment, I guess the message is that in this moment, I feel like you might be in the cocooning phase. You might be in sort of the birthing tunnel of life. And this definitely could do with a disconnect, a breakup, or a situation within a relationship where it's sort of like giving it, I don't want to call it giving up, but it is moving out of the space of hanging on to something that really wasn't working. Now, that doesn't mean that you're releasing the entire relationship, but there is something within this dynamic of this situation. I mean, honestly, I would say probably relationship or a connection of some sort that really wasn't working. And it's sort of then what the message here is that what you are intended to do really is to get into the space of doing the work and doing the work on self and bringing in balance in order to kind of build into that wish fulfillment. In this moment, it seems like everything is kind of not necessarily, I wouldn't say not going in our favor, but it's almost as though everything kind of seems bleh. Yeah, I don't know. It's like everything is, it's sort of looking at the world around us and going, oh, I have to put in work on that, and I have to fix this. And the one thing about being sort of at the bottom step of a mountain is when you look up at the mountain, it can feel like there's no way over it. And I've been in that space in life several times over, and I know how difficult it really is. But the one thing about being able to climb a mountain is that every action and every step forward matters. Every step that you, every time that you pivot from sort of a pattern or a cycle in which you no longer want to be a part of, or you no longer want to buy into or believe is a part of your life, and you decide to choose differently, that is an unraveling of a pattern. There are some messages, honestly, group 2, that in group 1, I think I communicated really well. Especially within the advice portion of that reading, that kind of pertain to some of the things that pertain here. But one of the things that I had talked about was this decision to combat negative self-talk that I personally did. And what I used to do is anytime I would like find myself dwelling on something negative, I would bring in more true statements, and I would just sort of condition myself. All that breaking a cycle realistically is reconditioning the mind to respond differently. Okay. So what I would do is, if I was saying something negative about myself, like say I was like, oh, I'm so stupid. Well, I had an awareness that I wasn't actually stupid. That much I knew. So I would be like, you're not stupid. This is just a thought. And, thoughts become things if we let them. And thoughts can be very fleeting. And so it was me sort of grabbing back a hold of these thoughts and reprogramming them before sending them back out, which we have full control over. So it was kind of combating these spaces of negative self-talk. And the interesting thing, I think, that I don't even know when I built into an awareness, honestly, but after doing this for so long, it just became normal that if I said something, I would automatically just go into to reject that comment or that statement. And I didn't used to do that. I used to let it snowball into a very big problem. But now, when I'm kind of just beating myself up, or I'm having a moment, or I'm having a day, I will get myself in that space, and then all of a sudden I'll come in and just sort of give my own self an ass whipping where I'll be sitting there saying something, I'm like, geez, what are you doing? Stop talking to yourself that way. Are you crazy? You know that, like, I'll just scold myself a little bit, and I'm like, no, you got this. And I'll give myself pep talks too, and be like, no, you've been working this hard on this. Do not put yourself down. Do not let this defeat you. Do not let this get you down. I mean, if you have to stand in the mirror and do it, do it. I'm gonna just tell you something, group 2. That shit works, okay? It works. It's effective. It'll change your life. I promise you. I promise you. I am so certain that changing your thought patterns and how you talk about yourself will change your life, that I don't know what I'll do, but I just know that I'm certain about it. So, that, you know, that could be something that really could help you, because when we find ourselves in these sort of situations, I think the hardest thing, honestly, to wrap our minds around and to get really to get on board with is that if we're in a certain type of connection, we energetically aligned into that connection. And so our energy was a match for that person. And that's hard for us to sort of get on board with, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a match in that space. It could have been that in a previous, so say, like, here's an example. Okay, say there's somebody that's in a relationship, and in the relationship that they're dishonest, and they don't really care about the other person's feelings. Okay, that relationship ends, and then that same person who was dishonest moves into a new connection in which they're always honest and they're always loving and they're always giving. Well, their partner ends up being dishonest and doesn't give a crap. So that's how karma kind of plays out, right? So something that is important to understand is that if we're connecting into these spaces, it is not without purpose. It is there to teach us something in all things. Like, life is incessantly a space of learning, and really it's growing and catapulting and moving. It is essentially it is always at all times evolution. And we disconnect from that reality. And I'm not going to get all down a rabbit hole with you, group 2, but we are intended to be distracted from that reality. Okay. So, I don't want to get like flagged talking about certain topics, but building into an awareness that energy, here's the thing, this is how I like to describe energetic alignment, is the placebo. This is how I like to explain the law of attraction, because if you believe in the placebo, then you have to believe in the other. These two things cannot coexist. So the placebo effect, you give somebody a pill and you tell them this pill does this, and then it does that, even though there's nothing in the pill. Why does it do that? We know that it works. We know that placebo works. So if you start employing, and if you attach that theory into the law of attraction and into energetic alignment, then you'll know that what you give out must be true if you believe it. And ultimately, group 2, this awareness is going to bring this sort of moment right now where you're in this phase and in this tunnel of birthing and in the muck, which is exactly where lotus flowers need to grow in, right? They have to, the lotus flower must endure, they have to have mud in order to become the flower that they are. They don't exist without each other. And so this is a moment that building into this awareness is going to take you out of that. It's going to tip that scales of balance for you and bring you back into calmer waters. All right, let's get you advice. Although I kind of feel like you got a lot of advice in that. Let's give you advice. So, I'm sorry. Sometimes I start pulling these out like that, and I'm like, why am I doing that so slow? I will watch these back in a video, and I really could have just grabbed those all. It had to be so one by one, but I don't know. Maybe that was the baby step process, you know. All right, let me get a drink of my water before I get you advice, group 2. I'm very thirsty in this energy, so you may be just like I feel like there's something like, yeah, you're going through it, but you're fed up too. And congratulations for you, group 2. You should be fed up with that bullshit. It's time for justice, little one. It's time for you to shine, baby. All right. What is the advice here for group 2, please? Oh, man, I missed one. I think it was this guy. What is the advice for group 2? Devil. Yeah. Oh, boy. I love this already. Okay. Really quick, just because I knew that something about manifestation was coming into this reading. So in this moment, like you definitely are intended to really get on board with the idea of manifestation, because it's out of balance right now, and you got to bring that in. It'll just change your whole damn world. I promise you this. I know this. Y'all, I used to be 240 pounds. I used to be tyrannical. I was like, if you looked at me a certain way, I was like, who the fuck are you looking at? Mind your own damn business. Now, I do have a side of me still. Like, I have a Scorpio moon. So there is like this space. Anyway, hold on. What is the advice here for group 2? And what's on the bottom of the deck? Ace of Wands, Temperance, and the Seven of Cups now in the upright. Interesting how those cards came back out. Anyway, just really quick, I want to tell you about this because I feel like it pertains to this, but there is, so now it's like, yeah, I still have that like hood in me, I guess. I'm definitely not from the hood, but I grew up where I was one of those kids that really was just like kind of left to their own devices. I was smoking at like 11 years old and into, I have lived a long life, and and I'm not that old realistically, but that part of me really hardened me and really made me kind of I was very much we're gonna match vibes kind of person, and I also was this is just how I am, take it or leave it. And my life was fucking hell during those times, and I am not that way now. I'm so isolated from that I won't even entertain it anymore. You have to really poke the bear to get me to come out and for the scorpion sting to come out of my Scorpio moon. But anyway, I don't know, it must pertain to this connection. But the one thing, okay, so your advice here is so since this is kind of about a connection, I really just want to start in this one space, is that by being out of touch with manifestation, we aren't necessarily receiving that sort of union like quality within a connection. And so moving into a space of building an awareness that what we give out, we receive, it allows us then to move into this space in which we are ready to receive that sort of union. Beginning the work on this process is what's going to put the wheels in motions and really get you into a place of then kind of being able to build these foundations. Okay, it's one thing about the Three of Swords that I always see is that it was like he had put up this wand, and then now it was stable enough to stand on its own, and then he put up this wand and it was able to stand up on its own, and now he's got this one in his hand that it's like he's now in a space of eventually this one will stand on its own, and then we'll be upright here. Okay, so putting in the work there. I don't know why I started over here necessarily. I just saw that message, and I know the Magician card. I knew the Magician card was going to come out. I had this feeling that something about manifestation was going to come into play. In the reverse, there is another element too, is that we have to really watch out too, that we can find ourselves in spaces that when we are giving out a lot of negativity, we are very it's quite, well, not it'll come back to us. Karma works in very specific ways. So building into that awareness of really picking your battles is a huge message in this reading. And it's kind of moving into the space of not even necessarily that you don't have to communicate, but watching what you communicate. Some of us, and if you're in my collective, you very well could resonate with this of sort of giving people too much information via communication that they didn't even necessarily deserve. And so it's kind of going in and really assessing, like, who needs to know my business in this moment. Sometimes upgrading your life without saying a single thing to anyone, and really knowing the spaces in which you can communicate and be receptive in, is so important. I mean, that's why I'm here. Because in my everyday life. The only people I talk to are my customers, and I have two really close friends, and I talk to my mother, and that's it, and my children, and that's my circle, and I like it that way. um, and then you have this sort of there is this need in this space right now for filling into your own cup. It feels like you have been in this space maybe for quite a while of sort of like very much so there's a vibe going on of giving in a seeking state for validation, seeking approval, seeking an outcome, and really putting in a lot of expectation and not looking at things realistically or accepting them as they are. Even if you know better, often a lot of times, especially if you're a feminine energy, it's very easy for you to read between the lines, and so you kind of know what someone's actually thinking. But if they don't have the courage to say that, they're always going to put you in a space of being able to gaslight that out of you, where if you're just going based on your intuition and they're not necessarily communicating the truth or communicating their authenticity, also there is a lot, we can create whole realities in our head sometimes that aren't even realistic. So making sure that you're staying present with people, and whatever they present to you, accept that that is who they are. That is a huge thing in learning how to get out of the spaces of overgiving. And this is definitely walking away from that. And it's sort of another thing that we're kind of walking away from is this sort of past vibe, these past cycles, these things that maybe haven't been embedded within us, for years. This is a moment in which you are intended to step outside of that, to pivot, and to walk away from those cycles. And ultimately, this is going to bring in a moment in which this is going to open up the doors for you. It's going to open up the awareness that you have so many more options in life, that there are so many more paths for you to choose from than this one that is causing you heartache and pain. And really, really, there's another element too, is just to understand that there is no quick fix, unfortunately. That is like the hardest thing. But when you recognize that one small pivot can unravel an entire cycle, it's much easier then to get on board with it. Okay, so those baby steps, those are so important. Any little bit of action that you can do to begin working on this moment in yourself will help. What I did, y'all, you want to know what I did? So 6 years ago, I started my first journal. I've been journaling pretty much every day for 6 years. And I just wanted to change my mindset on life. That was literally my goal, because I had recognized that I was just constantly negative. And I started writing down 5 gratitudes a day. That's it. That's all. That was the step that got me to here 6 years later. So any small change that you can do that isn't going to wreak havoc on your life, do it and continue doing it. And then that will snowball into more things, and it'll just become a part of your life. All right, let's get you some oracle messages. I don't know if you heard that. It's very windy today here. What's the weather like where you're at? My son was down in Florida recently, and it was like 80 degrees and warm, and he sent me a video sweating, and I was like, oh, I'm so jealous. Okay. What are some messages? Whoa, Nelly, the desirable. I did have a hit about physical transformation, actually. Interesting, and I didn't mention it with that Ace of Wands that was down there, but it just didn't feel pertinent to the moment. I should have known better. Spirit's coming out like, you didn't mention this. We are reminding you. The desirable. I accept my desires as a pure expression of my essential self, the transformer. I transform myself as a caterpillar, transform into butterfly. Y'all, look at that. Okay, I just wanted to show you like statistics here. Okay, probability. Okay, are you somebody who gets down on probability? Look at all these cards. Okay, and assess the thing that I was just talking about with the butterfly. effect, essentially, going through that cocooning phase. And then this card comes out that talks about the transformation. I can't with tarot. I just, that right there is just proof that energetic alignment is real, realistically. You know, that's, oh man, I love tarot. Okay, the nurturer. I deserve to feel nurtured because I give care to those I cherish. This could be really a space, a period of time that you may be moving out of into a more feminine energy, and sort of being into a receptive state, letting things go, no longer chasing, and moving into this I don't chase, what is it? I don't chase, I attract. Yeah. Moment. The contortionist. I resist those who would have me bend to their will. Yeah, buddy. Yes. This is your time, sweetheart. Just remember that you are the creator of everything around you. What you give, you receive. Continue to, I got that in group 1 as well. There may be, honestly, some messages for you in group 1, specifically in that advice portion, but really the whole read could be something that these are very similar. Not quite the same. You know what, group 1, I just got, our group 2, I just got this hit. This is interesting. That your future self would be resonated into group 1. And with group 1, their past self would be resonated into group 2. Y'all. So if you want to hear a message to your higher self, group 2, go check out group 1. I'm going to put that in the, I'm going to write that down really quick because I don't know. I'll remember, actually. I'll remember something big like that. Okay, sorry. Sometimes my ADHD is very forgetful. Okay. So you guys got a lot that came out here. So hold up. We got not for you, to the sea, serendipity, time for a nap, fork in the road, clean it up. Yeah, I do feel like this is just sort of going into, it's interesting that I was talking about the feminine energy because I do feel like this is about, whenever I see to the sea, I always think of flowing with emotions or flowing into sort of the, being in that state of just kind of being, okay, which is a very feminine energy. And then we have time for a nap. Definitely, this isn't even necessarily like a physical nap, although it could be. Sometimes when our mind is so exhausted, our body will just kind of rest for us. Oh man, y'all, when I was going through like the darkest parts of my healing, I was sleeping for days. That's all I wanted to do was sleep. And anytime that I could, I was just sleeping and sleeping and sleeping. I was so exhausted. So sometimes, you know, that will happen. Your body will just be like, no, we're good. It is time for a break. And this is definitely a pivotal moment for you. This is a choice between two worlds. And the transformation process, it's sort of like an ascension, honestly. And the shift is crazy. It is so crazy. Because you literally will look back and won't even, it's almost like you're looking on the outside, looking in at your old self. It's wild, y'all, but so worth it. And if you're in this spot, just know that there are people out there who have been right where you're at and made it through it. And this is really going to bring you a whole lot of fulfillment, honestly. So yeah, group 2, I really feel like there is a message for you also in group 1 if you have the time to take a look at that reading. I think it would be really beneficial for you. If this resonated with you and you'd like to hear more from me, please like and subscribe to my channel. Y'all, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. That is my goal. Any little bit of help that you have in supporting me through this moment is greatly appreciated. It means more to me than you probably know. I love seeing your comments. I love interacting with y'all. It's been such a rewarding experience thus far, and I'm so grateful that you're here with me. Thank you so much, Group 2. Enjoy the rest of your day. Coffee. My imposter coffee. Guides, tap me into the energy for group 3, please. I feel like this group is going to be full of badasses. I just have that feeling. Are my baddies in group 3? Oh yeah, this is a vibe. Group 3. Group 3, I was just burning some Palo Santo before doing your reading. And I was like, oh, I have a feeling that my baddies are going to be in group 3. Like, this is going to be the group that's full of badasses. I can just tell already. Your energy, y'all, is... I love it. I love it. There's been some energies that have been tapping into my collective through this channel that, oh my God, you guys are so fun. You got that sort of, it's like, I don't even want, it's like swag. It's like, is that, I don't know. It's like swagger. I feel like such a geek saying that word. All right, group 3. What we're going to do is messages in this moment, what you need to hear, get you some advice, and then provide you some oracles. So we ain't going to sit around and chit chat. We're going to chit chat while we do tarot. That's how this works here on this channel. So let's get you into your reading. What is the message for group 3? By the way, group 3, this is my upright deck. None of these cards will be in the reverse. Just FYI. Okay. Oh my word. Goodness. Okay, hold up. This always happens with my group 3s. It's like y'all are like, I got a lot to say. Every time. I'll do the first 2 readings and all the cards will come out just like all nice and sweet and just, you know, patiently. And then I get into group 3 and it's like, blah. So I feel like you have that energy that's like, no, you're gonna hear what I have to say, and and I'm kind of here for that. Page of Pentacles, Strength, and the Hierophant, which is very interesting, group 3, because funny that one of the messages kind of is for you to really embody like a moment of oh, you have the King of Swords on the bottom of the deck too. This is interesting. Sorry, I just got sidestepped from where my one thought was going. It's funny because you are kind of in this moment of sort of balancing this aspect of you out. You are so honest, so honest. Okay, there is a little hit here, group 3, of are you providing people more information than they need? Because this is kind of the one thing I like to do, or like that I like to employ that actually really works and is really effective, is not speaking on our goals until they have been accomplished. Sometimes we get into a space in which it's like we just want to share with everybody what we're working on, and that can actually invite some really, you know, there are people always around us that, especially if you're somebody who has this sort of personality, because I can already tell, group 3, that you have a personality that I would say it's one of those people probably like, you're intimidating, and your response is probably like, am I intimidating, or are you intimidated? Because that's the vibe. And so people like to throw rocks at things that shine, right? And so when you're in a space and you're kind of giving all these people all this information and giving too much, you're essentially putting in, you're allowing that into allow other energy to kind of sabotage the process for you. And what I would employ you to do is wait until you are good and ready to share an accomplishment. I have a goal with this channel that I'm not sharing it until I reach 1,000 subscribers, so nobody knows about it that's in my inner circle. Only one person knows about it. Even my, like, the friend I'm the closest with doesn't know I redid this channel. So it is literally one person who is very into tarot that knows about this channel, and that's it. Nobody else knows about it besides, I mean, you guys know about it, obviously. But it is sort of working on our goals in silence, upgrading in silence, and doing this and doing the work so that you have the leg to stand on. Because one thing that people like to do when you are somebody who has that go-getter attitude and you have that sort of tenacity in life, what people like to do is look at your life on an all-encompassing space, and they're like, oh, really? Well, she thinks she's got it all together. Or he will look at their life. They did this. So being in a space where you really feel confident that you can stand on that ground, that you are, here to essentially break through, because there is this tenacity within you. There is this take the life by the bull, or what is that, like, take the life by the horns, or by the, I don't know. I'm just seeing a bull, and it's also that vibe of like, don't mess with the bull, you'll get the horns. I'm a Taurus, and so high five, I resonate into that. And essentially, just like, there's another element too, if you're like picking your battles, okay, and knowing then, and also using your intuition in certain spaces, and really bringing this into balance, bringing in the balance of sort of this duality between these things. Not even necessarily, you don't have to soften necessarily, but softening this part of you that is kind of giving in too much, or in spaces that it doesn't necessarily belong in. And also giving it, there's another tap here too of seeking validation from people who have incessantly invalidated you, and sort of needing their approval, and seeking sort of the confirmation of their thing, of their awareness. There has to come a point where we recognize that there are some people who are meant for us to love from a distance, who are not going to be a part of our hype team. And if you don't know what a hype team is, I found this, I read the book By the Fucking Lilies. I don't remember the name of the author, but she talks about a hype team in it, and she talks about having a circle of people that are always encouraging and supporting, and they'll tell it like it is, but they'll never put you down, and they'll never criticize you, and they'll also never put you in a space in which they're essentially saying that you can't do something, or being condescending, or passive aggressive, or not having any faith or trust in you. Because that energy, the way that makes you feel, that's the energy that you give out to the world around you. One way to look at the law of attraction is to consider, how I always describe it is that the placebo effect is real, and we know that. So since we know that, then we can employ that if we apply that, into the idea of the law of attraction and manifesting, then those two things have to also be true. If our mind can take a pill that has nothing in it and believe that it does something and cure itself just by a belief and a thought, then that can be manifested into our life through the law of attraction. And so recognizing that when you're in a space and you are consistently seeking validation in a space that you never receive it, and you won't receive approval in it, acceptance is so important in that space, group 3. You must accept it, and then must move forward and go, okay, you know what? I'm going to, you don't have to put the person down. You don't have to reciprocate that energy. You do not have to match vibes. And I know that we are a match vibes group. You don't have to do that. You pick your battles, because some people really love our response. You know what I'm talking about? They love to push a response out of us. There are people like that they agitate us simply because we can get agitated, and they love to see our feathers ruffled. So how you can build in real strength in this, and true strength, because strength is not being the loudest person in the room. Strength is not being the person that can give the opinion the most or the loudest. Strength is being able to know, you know what, I don't even give a shit about this enough to give my opinion. Y'all do what you want. I'm going to do me, and I'm going to focus on me, and I'm not going to put my energy into this low vibrational bullshit. And when I say low vibrational, I mean low vibrational as in there is a whole vibrational chart out there, right? This is a real chart. It's not like, sometimes I feel like the term low vibration, high vibration is such a, it sounds so egotistical or conceited or kind of arrogant, and no, it's just about energy. You know, lower vibrations are judgment, shame, guilt, animosity, resentment. Those are the lowest pool of vibration. So if we're operating in that space, we're just going to receive more to be pissed off about, essentially. But if you go into that other space and you start bringing in joy, okay, you move that vibration up, you start having gratitude and building on gratitude. One way that you can build on gratitude, really, truly, is just a simple baby step to get you out of this, is just write down 5 things you're grateful for each day. I've been journaling for 6 years, y'all, and journaling all by itself changed my damn life. Journaling was my baby step. It was the very first thing I did in working on myself. But anyway, if you can move into that higher vibration, then you can get into this space in which you are truly operating in a space of that is going to put you into a receptive energy, where you're going to, if you're giving out gratitude, you'll just have more to be grateful for, baby. That's how it works. And so building into that awareness and believing it and really believing it and seeing it play out in your life and going, and then building into this consciousness and this awareness that, hold up, this energy shit is real. And because it is, there is no fluff here. Tarot is the perfect example of that. You tapped into a very specific reading that resonates with you on the level that it does. Do you think that's without purpose? It isn't necessarily that I'm just so amazing at this and I'm so wonderful at being able to channel, although yeah, I do have obviously a skill set, but the reason that you're tapping into this is energetic alignment. You are tapping into something you need to hear that is going to be in alignment with your life and your life purpose. Ooh, that was a huge channel. That was almost all channeling. Goodness. Who was that? Dang. That was a big channel. Whew. Okay, I need to get a drink. Wow. Damn, that was a big message, group 3. Okay. Whew. I feel like that was literally laced with all the advice. I mean, that was so full of advice, but I'm going to just kind of tap more into this for you, group 3. What is the advice for group 3 in this situation? We just kind of went in on it, didn't we? Yeah, you are really, this is kind of just like, it is the catalyst of holding ourselves back. This is going to bring in so much stability into your life. Because, and here's the thing too, group 3, is when you narrow down what you're giving your energy to, man, you fucking become hyper focused. You can focus in on really creating your goals. And I know that this particular collective, you're full of entrepreneurs, you are full of people. There's a specific community that I've seen in different cultures that have come into my readings recently. And there are specific cultures that they're full of people that are like always finding ways to make money and always trying to find ways to kind of hustle and be in that hustle culture. And I know you're in my collective. And this is like saying, like, if think of it this way, is like, imagine all that energy that you put into giving a shit what other people think. Okay? Imagine putting all of that energy into that, right? And you taking that energy that you spend that much time on. Something that we really need to understand is time is the most valuable asset that we have. Time is the most valuable currency that we have. Time is something that time is the single most valuable thing that we are providing other people. You being here in this moment, you are providing me a part of your life you will never get back. So why are we giving in to these people? Why are we anybody who comes at us? Why do we feel like we have to respond to that? We don't have to respond to that. Be the bigger. It's not even about being the bigger person. It's about being a person that's like, you know what? That sounds like a you problem. I got shit to do. I have things I need to get done. And then you get rid of all of that energy, group 3, and it'll be like tunnel vision for your goals. Okay. 2 more please here for the advice. I really feel like this like literally is the advice. It's funny because this tower moment, y'all, I feel like is this moment, is you tapping into this reading and hearing these things is the tower moment. Like it's weird. I don't want to sound like full of myself or anything, but it does kind of feel that way. This is literally, it's just getting out of your own way. It's getting out of that space of just this, it's getting out of the space of fighting everyone off with a stick, and also recognizing that sometimes the reason that we attract so much energy like that is because we stand out. There's a Chinese proverb that says the nail that sticks out the highest is the one the hammerhead hits first. And knowing that people throw rocks at things that shine, people throw rocks at things that stand out, people have opinions about people that stand out. Let them. We don't have to respond to everything. And I know I'm preaching from the choir because I literally just responded to something like this yesterday. But this is exactly why I resonate into this energy, because I know, because I've been there and I still have slip-ups today. And this is essentially informing you that you get into this space, you get out of this space of combating everything around you and giving your energy into so many things that aren't serving you truly and aren't benefiting your life in any way. You will bring in balance within fulfillment, and you'll move into this sort of empress status, which is literally, it is the culmination of no fucks given, fuck around and find out, but also it is respect. People will respect you when they know that they can't mess with you. They'll respect you way more than if they know if they ruffle your feathers, you're gonna come out as like a beast, you know. They'll respect you more when they can't get to you. They'll respect you more when they can't, when you're unbothered and unfazed by the things that they're bringing towards you. I promise you. All right, group 3, let's get you oracles. I'm sorry, group, that's kind of like a quick message, but it just feels like that's how it's intended to be delivered for you. All right. What are the oracles here for group 3, please? What are the oracles for group 3? Oh, this guy wanted to come out. You got, oh, okay. You're my angel. Girl, you're my angel. You're my darling. Oh my God. When's the last time you heard that song? Closer than my peeps you are to me, baby. I had a boyfriend in like 8th grade that dedicated that song to me, y'all. Oh my goodness. Okay, anyway. The desirable is, I accept my desires as a pure expression of my essential self. The nurturer, I deserve to feel nurtured because I give care to those I cherish. And also another thing too here is like, if you get rid of all that like excess crap, then you'll have all the space to kind of nurture into yourself and others and really build into those loving connections and get out of that sort of energy of having to combat with people that clearly don't care. Or not even that they don't care, it's just that, you know, there are some battles that aren't worth fighting. we have the worrier. I can handle whatever life brings to me. And I will say too, group 3, you have a fighter's spirit. I can tell that 100%. Just tapping into your energy is different than the rest of the groups. There's so much tenacity within this group. You're definitely the group that can hear the truth the best and handle the truth the best. And even though sometimes you might sort of have like this space of overthinking, you are resilient. Don't get me wrong. And also it's like knowing that God or whoever, whatever you want to resonate with, and put you into this path for a reason, because you can handle it. And so now it's like the real strength, group 3, is the control over one's self. All right. Oh, excuse me. What are some more for group 3? And yeah, definitely. There's a whole lot of stuff about this is something that I feel like this conversation that we're having right now is something that has been sort of prevalent in your life for quite a long time, and I feel you. Yeah, and so this is kind of taking baby steps to sort of unravel this cycle and to get out of this step. I talked a little bit about cycles in the other groups, but I'll just kind of bring it in for you as well. Is that how I provide the analogy is the chain that is like it's like those little dainty chains, right? And then when they get all raveled up, they're like impossible to unravel, right? And you got to pick at them and pick at them. And then eventually, though, you pick at it long enough and it's all going to unravel. That is how a pattern of behavior works as well. So doing one little thing to pivot and take action to unravel this. Another thing that you can do in terms of negative self-talk, because oftentimes it is that when we kind of communicate negatively within self, then we kind of project that out into the world, is combating that with more true statements. And by more true statements, I mean we're combating that with saying things that are not necessarily, they're not so grand that we can't believe them. They're not so outside of the scope of reality. So it wouldn't be like, okay, for instance, if I was like, man, I'm so stupid, and then I combated that with, I am a genius. I am the smartest person in the world. Okay. That's not necessarily a true statement. So we're going to move in and go, no, if I were going to combat that, I'd be like, what? No, that is just a thought. And I'm actually pretty intelligent. So thank you very much. But no, we're not going to buy that. We're taking that one out. Remember that thoughts are fleeting, but they're also our responsibility, and we have total control of them. So if we send out a thought that we don't want to put out into the world and receive back in energy, then we just kind of reel it back in and change it and then send it back out. We have that control. There is a time lapse here within those things. And I don't know if I discussed the placebo. I think I probably did in your reading, but if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. ADHD brained here. But understanding that the law of attraction works like placebo. So I think I did actually mention it now that I'm thinking back on it. So I think I did actually talk about that, but just remembering that, okay, moving forward, okay, and doing those sort of, the other element of this, unfortunately, like this is kind of the drab part of this reality, is that there is no quick fix, okay? There is no magic pill that's going to solve everything, because even those pills that do solve things, like for instance, I don't know if this is a trigger warning, but we're going to talk about weight. I used to be 240 pounds, okay? So I've been through a pretty massive weight loss journey, and I'm still on it, but I would have loved to just be able to take a pill and then it just fix all my problems for me. But realistically, then I would have to be on that pill forever unless I changed my life. You know what I mean? And that's just unrealistic. So there isn't sort of this quick fix to this process. It is about baby steps. And ultimately, this is going to bring in, not only is it going to bring in balance into your life, but in terms of connections, it's going to improve the connections that you have with other people. The people that came into my life after after the transformation process are some of the most sound and stable humans that I've ever had in my life ever to date. And I know that they would not be in my space communicating with me if I didn't resonate into their energy, because I look up to them. I feel like I know they look up to me in their own way, and there are different things. I feel like we are kind of all in this space of looking up to each other. One element to understand is that if you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. You know, make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people that really are a part, that support you and encourage you and are inspiring themselves. All right, group 3. If this resonated with you, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so that I can utilize this channel to help support my family. I am a single mom, so any amount of support that you provide me means the absolute world to me. And I also love seeing your comments and interacting with you on the platform. So if this does resonate and you feel compelled to chat with me or send me a message, please leave me a comment down below as well. Thank you so much, group 3. Enjoy the rest of your day.